back to the kitchen table. I'm Kenny D. You guys know me. If you've been following the show, you know that I've been trying to spread mental health awareness in the first responder community. But this show is really, truly for everyone, not just if you're a first responder. That's just my experiences. I've toned it down a little bit on the mental health awareness type stuff. I've been trying to do more interviews, and most of my interviews have been with firemen, and that seems to be attracting a lot of firefighters to my pages and stuff like that, and that's all great, and I really appreciate the support, brothers. Thank you. There will be more interviews with and about firemen and first responders, but I am going to be doing an interview next week where I talk to do something a little different. I was on social media, and a bunch of my friends on social media, some that I'm just friends with on social media, some that I'm still kind of in touch with, were promoting this book that I saw, and I figured I'd order the book and check it out. It's called Brooklyn Skinhead. It's written by Lou Morales, and he is from Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Grew up around the time that I grew up, so I figured I'd get the book, check it out, read it, and I said, fuck it. I reached out to him and said, hey, do you want to sit in on an interview and on a podcast that's got a little bit, not too many followers? And he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I've been in contact with him. So I'm going to interview him very soon. That should be on the episode after this one. I'm doing this episode now, but I'm interviewing him on Friday. Today is Tuesday. This will come out Sunday, and his interview should come out the Sunday after. I'm really looking forward to it. The book was really cool. Again, it's called Brooklyn Skinhead, a memoir, one man's journey from fear and self-hatred to love and faith. So if you haven't yet, you can get it on Amazon. Check it out. Brooklyn Skinhead by Lou Morales. Looking forward to the interview. Hopefully he listens, and I'll see you Friday, Lou. But after that, we'll have this episode will come out, and we'll already done the interview. I'm really looking forward to this interview. This book was really cool. He was a skinhead in Sunset Park, and very tough guy, tough crew, going into the Lower East Side, into the clubs and stuff like that. Those guys were pretty bad dudes, but he found faith. He became a follower of Christ, and he went on some journeys, overseas missions into some pretty crazy environments. And I'm really looking forward to hearing his story after reading the book. Again, Brooklyn Skinhead, Lou Morales. Check it out. Get it on Amazon. Really easy, quick, easy read too. I read it in like 2 days. You get right through it. So I'm looking forward to that. So I got that out of the way. I got my mental block out of the way. I want this to be a pretty quick video. I don't want to talk too long. I told you guys, I'm at my halfway to my goal, a little more than halfway. I got my 500 subscribers, 514 as of today, to be exact. It's Tuesday. I got about 2,400 watch hours. I'm looking to get 1,000 and 4,000 by the 1 year, by February. Let's make that happen and get that goal, and then I can start shooting for another goal. One thing at a time, right? Baby steps. Maybe the baby steps, concentrating on baby steps, focus on the very next step in front of me, and I'll get there, and I'll get my mind right, and things will work out, right? Because I'm doing this because I enjoy it. It's like a hobby right now. I'm trying to get a good message out. I'm trying to entertain people with some good stories. I've had some pretty good stories. People are starting to listen. People are starting to watch. The interviews I'm getting are great. Like the guys that I've interviewed have some pretty wild stories. 2 roof rope rescues. Well, one of the guys him and his company made a bunch of grabs at a fire. Like 35 people or 30-something people were evacuated. And then I interviewed the great Lieutenant Jay Walsh. I mean, this guy's got 40 plus years of fire service between volunteers, Connecticut, and fdny. I mean, just a wealth of experience and knowledge. It was so great to talk to him. And those guys are my friends. It's easy to talk to them because they're my friends. So it's not even that I have to prepare that much. This interview coming up, I don't know him. I've never met him that I remember, but we know some mutual people. So this is my first interview where I'm sitting down with somebody that I don't know. So I'm really trying to prepare. I'm trying to prepare an intro. I'm trying to prepare questions. I don't want to look, even though I'm an amateur, I don't want to look like an amateur. I really want to try my best. I think I'm getting the audio squared away. I got the new Rodecaster Duo audio interface. I got new Rode pod mics. I got the arm. I got an external hard drive. Still got my camera phones. So I think I'm getting that stuff squared away, which makes me happy. So the channel is growing. I'm learning every single time. So anybody who's doing a YouTube channel or who wants to do a YouTube channel, if you want to hit me up, I'll let you know what I'm doing right now. But again, I have to learn every single time I sit here and do this. I learn something new. And I'm growing every single day, and I'm learning something new every single time. So if you're somebody that's starting something like this, keep it up. Don't quit. It's frustrating. It certainly is. Making mistakes and camera work and camera angles is one of my big things. I don't have anybody on the other side of the camera. It's just me. I don't have anybody listening or anything like that. I'm learning all this shit as I go. But keep it up. I'm going to try and keep it up. I'm going to try and keep going. But that's it. That's what I want to say about that. But real quick, just a quick try and get some funny stuff going. I wanted to talk about some of the celebrities that I've met as a first responder. Between the park police, air marshal, and fire department, I've met a handful. I've not just met, but sat next to. Some I've talked to. Some just shared a look. Some, like a thumbs up. Some I've actually spoke to. But anybody that I've sat next to or seen up close celebrity, if I can remember, I'm just going to tell some stories. When I was a park policeman, I used to work at the when I first got up there, if you guys watch the show, you know that I worked at the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. So that's the places where most of the celebrities came. They would come to Ellis Island or Statue of Liberty or blah, 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 just to see the statue and walk around Ellis Island. Who did I meet there? I met Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan was still on the New York Giants, and he had just won the sack record that year. I can't remember what year it was. Probably 1997, maybe 1998, but I think it was 1997 because I was on the job 96. I got to New York in 97, so it was probably around 97. And he had just gotten the sack record in New York for the New York Giants. And he was at, Ellis Island with his wife, not bothering anybody. Nobody was bothering him. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go up and say hello to the guy. And I did. And he was truly... him and his wife at the time, I think he's divorced from her now, just the freaking nicest guy you want to meet. Really, really nice. I didn't bother him too long. I was just like, hey, man, I want to congratulate you on the sack record. I'm a Giant fan. Really, really awesome stuff. And he was really appreciative of it. Really, really nice guy. So Michael Strahan, thumbs up for sure. And his wife at the time, thumbs up. Gene Hackman came to Ellis Island. And I didn't meet him, but I saw him. And you wouldn't believe how tall Gene Hackman is. Now, I'm a little guy. I'm only like 5'5" on a good day. Gene Hackman came on with an entourage. I guess, I don't know, managers, family, whatever. And he was like a foot taller than everybody. He's like 6'5". And at the time, 1997, 1998, I don't even know how old he was. He was old back then. But he was super tall. But I didn't get to talk to him. I was like, I'm not going to bother him. Whatever. So, but just want to say that Gene Hackman is a lot taller than you'd think. I've met Ernie Anastas. Ernie Anastas. Met a lot of newscasters while as a first responder in New York. People probably, if you listen to other places, you're not going to know who these people are. But to New Yorkers, if you watch the local news, you would know who these people are. Ellis Island, I had to walk around Ernie Anastas. He was a pretty popular newscaster for Channel 7. I think he was on Channel 11. But I talked to him and I walked him around, and he was a nice guy for sure, but it was just pretty professional. I just had to show him around, make sure that, he knew where he was going, where he got to go. But he was a nice guy, and he was a lot smaller than I thought he would be. I don't know. The camera is weird. You think people are taller or smaller than they are, and then you meet them and you're like, that's weird. They're smaller or they're bigger than they are. But Ernie Anastas was a nice guy. When I worked in Washington, D.C., when I got out of the academy, I had to go to Washington, D.C. for a short time. Couple months, like two months. And I was there for a Christmas celebration. Bill Clinton was still president. And my post was letting the limousines in to this outdoor Christmas celebration where there was performances by Patti LaBelle I met and Leanne Rimes I met. I had to get them out of the car, check the car for, we had a crew of people, bomb sniffing dogs. I had to wand down, with a metal detector, wand down Patti LaBelle and Leanne Rimes. And again, they were super nice. Everybody seems nice. They're like, oh, what's going on? They they didn't realize they had to get out of the car, but this is where the president was. And it was all Secret Service stuff, and it was all back in the day, and it was legit. So it didn't matter who you were getting wanded down. We didn't just trust you because you were a celebrity. Leanne Rimes was only a teenager then, but Patti LaBelle had been, she was Patti LaBelle. And that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool meeting them. I was still a young guy. I was only like 22 years old. But it was pretty cool meeting celebrities back then. I met a lot of celebrities, or I sat next to a lot of celebrities as an air marshal, because a lot of times I sat up close to the flight deck, which is usually first class, right? So most celebrities sat in first class. I sat next to a Busta Rhymes. You guys know who Busta Rhymes is, right? And that guy is way bigger than I thought. He's a big dude, like just all around muscles, just big, man. And he didn't talk to me. I didn't talk to him, but we sat next to each other. I think he gave me like a head nod, like, hey, how you doing? But, he was quiet the whole flight, didn't say nothing, just wanted to put his headphones on and just veg out, I guess. But he's a big dude. Busta Rhymes is a really good dude, a really big dude. But he was, didn't say anything on the flight. And I'm sure celebrities don't want to be bothered by anybody, but most of them have been cordial. I actually spoke to briefly Kelly Ripa, and this was when I 2002, when I was an air marshal, and we had to get on the flight early, and she was already on the flight with her security. Her security is what they said, and we had to brief the crew, and she was on it, and she was like, "Who are you guys?" I was like, "Who do you think we are?" She like got on the chair and I sat right behind her, and she like leaned over the chair behind me. She was like, "Who are you?" I was like, Don't you worry about who we are. Just if something happens, stay out of the way." But she was really nice. She was very, very nice. And I think she was with a security guard at the time. But, we were just like, "Listen, dude, something happens, just kind of stay to the side, protect her, and we'll handle it." But she was really nice, so I can't say anything bad about her. I don't think there's any celebrity that I could say anything bad about. They've all been nice. They've all been cordial. They've all again, I don't bother people like that. I don't really like to, look like a fanboy or anything. I just kind of, if they make eye contact, I'll just give them a head nod or just say hello real quick. I don't need to take pictures or get autographs. I'm not like that. I think celebrities, unless they're having like a meet and greet or something like that, or just seeing them is cool. Like I don't need any sort of proof that I saw them or that I met them like with an autograph. But that was Kelly Ripa. I saw Matt Dillon on the plane. He gave me a head nod, and we didn't talk, but he went to the bathroom, and then I didn't realize he went, and then I had to go to the bathroom, and then we were both standing in line waiting, and he kind of just nodded at me, and he was just like moving around weird, and he had weird facial expressions, but he, didn't say nothing, but wasn't an asshole or anything like that. Just kind of, like I said, just gave me a head nod. So that was that. Who else did I see on planes? Oh, Tony Randall. I don't know if any of you guys know who Tony Randall is. He was on the show called The Odd Couple a long time ago. I think he's probably passed away by now, I'm sure, because he was like 75 years old back then. And what happened was he was on the plane, and he had looked like a very young wife. I don't know. He might have been 75 and she might have been, I don't know, 35, 40. I don't know. But she was blonde, all did up, hair, nails, high maintenance, the whole 9 yards. She had put her bag above my seat, and I was like 2 rows behind him. So we're deplaning, and everybody stands up, but her bag is over my seat. And I didn't realize it, and she's just staring at me, like giving me this death look. And I was just like, what the fuck? And she like kind of like looks up at the overhead compartment. And I was like, "Oh, is this your bag?" And she just, gave me like a mm-hmm. So I was like, "All right." And I grabbed the bag from the overhead compartment, and I handed it to her. And she like snatched it out of my hand like really nasty. And I was like, "Oh, geez," So I look at Tony Randall, and this is his wife, and he didn't say anything to me, but he looked at me. On the video, this is what it's going to see. Like he looked at me and he just shrugged his shoulders, like, "What do you want from me, kid? Look at her. She's drop dead gorgeous, and I get to go home with that. I got to deal with it, but I'll deal with that so I get to go home." And then I looked at him and I was like, "Nah, all right, you got it." And we kind of like smirked at each other. So that was a nice interaction with Tony Randall. I thought it was pretty funny. So, and he walked off, but that's one thing that I'll never forget. His wife was not very nice, and he was like, "What do you want from me, kid?" And we just kind of chuckled to each other. So that was pretty funny. There's been other celebrities on flights that I've seen that I don't really recall right now, but on the fire department, we met. Let's see, who did we meet? Oh, again, newscasters in New York. We in the firehouse in the mornings at the kitchen table. Always had the news on, whether it was 5, 7, 4, 2. Somebody always had the news on. We got a lot of our material, funny material, watching the news. So one of our big things was in the firehouse was like, what newscaster could kick the shit out of any other newscaster? And I was like, oh, I got this guy. And he was like, oh, I got that guy. So my guy that I was like, it will kick everybody's ass was Mike Woods from Fox 5. He's the weatherman for Fox 5. Tall guy, built, muscles, always a nice suit on. I was like, Mike Woods would kick everybody's ass. Everybody's ass. He's a man's man. And we were like, fuck Mike Woods. But he was awesome. We loved watching Mike Woods. So as would have it one day, we're coming around Powell Boulevard, right? Which is 7th Avenue. And we're turning on 135th Street to go back to the firehouse. And who's on the corner with the news crew but Mike Woods? So Mike Woods is standing there, and somebody goes, hey, there's Mike Woods on the corner. And he's in front of, I think he was in front of the IHOP. There's an IHOP on 135th Street in Powell. So I lean out the engine, out the window, and I go, Mike Woods, yo! And I put my fist up, and I start doing like the old Arsenio Hall thing. And then I beat my chest, like, yeah, Mike Woods, Mike Woods. And he sees me, and he goes to wave at me, and he waves like this. and now that made us realize that Mike Woods is gay. Just the way he waved back, very, very feminine. And we were crying. And I was out the window like, oh, man. And I just like waved my arm at him. But it was really funny. Loved Mike Woods. We thought that was funny. The guys in the firehouse loved that story. Mike Woods is still awesome. Doesn't matter. He's still kick any other newscaster's ass out there. But that was such a funny story how much I rooted for Mike Woods. And then I saw him on the corner and I was like, yeah, Mike Woods, oh, man. And then he waved at me and he bent over, like a little pirouette he did. So I thought that was really funny. Anyway, who else did we meet? Oh, we had Mariano Rivera come to the firehouse. Mariano Rivera, the greatest closer in baseball history, came to the firehouse to do like a promo or something like that. And we had a bunch of guys show up. He was signing balls, but Mariano Rivera's theme music, entrance music, was Metallica, Enter Sandman. And I'd seen somewhere that he hated that song. He didn't even know it. And then when they started playing it, he hated it. He hated that song. He didn't get it. So when he showed up at the firehouse, we have the apparatus doors open. What do? I play his theme music coming into the firehouse. And he was like, oh, man. He was like, this is what I got to deal with? I was like, hey, I thought, you're dealing with firemen, bro. So I was hanging out in the house watching. He was in the kitchen talking to some of the guys. And I walk in and he looks at me and he was like, what's with you? What's with this guy right here? I like a joke. It was really funny. But Mariano was awesome. He was really, really cool. Real good sport about it. We broke his balls a little bit. And I'll put a picture up of him because we got a group picture of Mariano Rivera. But really good sport, really good guy. And took the joke really well. So that was pretty funny. Who else? Oh, this is my final one, and this is a pretty funny one. We met David Blaine on 125th Street in Harlem. Now, everybody who knows David Blaine, he's that magician. He's done some crazy stuff. He locked himself in a block of ice. He held his breath for freaking like 10 minutes. Like David Blaine does some crazy stuff. He's levitated off the floor. Like he's done some wild, wild stuff. Anyway, we're coming down 125th Street. Middle of the summer, I guess. And somebody goes, yo, that's David Blaine. And he pulls out him and his buddy with two girls on Harley Davidson motorcycles. They pull out like in front of us. We're like, yo, David Blaine. So he waves over to us to pull over. And we were like, holy shit. So we pull over and we get out of the rig and he gets off the Harleys. He shakes all of our hands. Really, really cool guy. Just talking. We took some pictures, I think. And we tell him to start doing tricks. We're yelling at him. And he's like, oh, I'll do this one. He does a couple of card tricks or whatever. And we start going, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Levitate. And he's like, I can't levitate. So we start calling him a fraud. We're like, you're a fucking fraud. You can't levitate. And he's laughing like, you better levitate or we think you're fucking full of shit. And he's like, I can't levitate right now. It's a workup. Like I have to work. And we were breaking his balls. Like leave it to firemen to break the balls of some celebrity who's whatever out there. And we're breaking his chops on 125th Street to levitate. And he wouldn't do it though. But what he did was he did the card trick where he folds the card and he puts it in like the middle of the deck. And I'm telling you, my face was right at the deck of cards and he snapped his finger and that folded card jumped up to the top deck of the cards. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Magic show. You could see the folded card because you could see the deck and he snapped his fingers and I don't know how he did it. I swear to God, but I was watching it with my own eyes. My eyes were wide open and he did it. The card went from the middle of the deck to the top of the deck. Don't know how he did it, but we broke his balls no matter what. Told him to levitate and he wouldn't do it. So anyway, that's it. Just some fun stories about meeting celebrities, getting my mundane blahs out of the way by talking to you guys. It always makes me feel better to talk when I'm not feeling mentally fit, just going through the motions of life. But seriously, talking and laughing a little bit makes me feel better. And I don't want to talk too long, but next thing you know, it's a half an hour. And Jesus, that's how quick it goes when you're having fun. So again, I will be talking to Lou Morales, Brooklyn Skinhead. Get the book on Amazon. Check it out. I'll be talking to him next Sunday. Will be the interview with him. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, it must be true if you heard it at the kitchen table. See you at the big one.